one of the problems is the insurance. Like that's a whole other rabbit hole, but like some people are just more affordable. That doesn't make them better.
This makes me wonder real quick, like what you guys would suggest that people observe, because we're lucky enough to know individuals like yourself, Kelly Starrett, a bunch of people who we've been able to have on, who we trust their input. But if somebody just goes to a clinic and an individual just wants to start cutting into them, and this is a professional, and I know it's case to case and dependent on that, but what are some red flags? You know what I mean? Because like, for example, my meniscus, I ended up having a meniscectomy, so I had part of it removed and I'm good now. But for example, that doctor told me post-surgery, he said, you shouldn't move anything. You should stay off this leg for a good 4 weeks. Don't do any type of exercise. Don't do much. And who was it that I talked to? There's this coach that we know who works with an NBA team who I messaged, and he's like, start doing these things immediately. And within 2.5 weeks, I was back in the gym.
Schlesinger?
It wasn't Schlesinger for this one. It was somebody else. Bald white guy. He's married to a black lady. You know what I'm talking about. What's up?
Doesn't Louis Simmons have these are endless stories from him. They told him to change everything, and he's like, no, I'm going in tomorrow. Like his stories of like his wound from is still bleeding as he's he's bench pressing the next day. Yeah.
But it makes me wonder, in these situations, it's like, if I did listen to the professional, maybe I wouldn't have a good range back in my knee, but I had somebody who really knew what I should be doing. So what do people need to be looking out for when they go to a chiropractic clinic or any of these clinics to try to get help?
Are you talking about like
red flags?
Red flags in terms of like bad clinicians, or red flags in your body? Like, is it like if sciatica goes past the knee and your foot is numb for a minute, like that's when we start to wonder about things like pain that goes down the leg? Or you're talking about like if you go see a doctor and a doctor says,
let's hit both.
Okay.
Let's hit both.
Yeah, I mean, again, going back to what we were talking about with Mark, progressively worsening symptoms are not good.
Yeah.
If it's just getting worse and getting worse and getting worse, see a doctor. I mean, and you also, I think like word of mouth in terms of finding a clinician, like if you had a good experience with them, good bedside manner, like do a little bit of research. You might research stuff for yourself, but research the doctor as well. Like there's information out there. You can go see someone. One of the problems is the insurance. Like that's a whole other rabbit hole, but like some people are just more affordable. That doesn't make them better, right? And they could be totally fine. What would you look out for in clinicians? That's an interesting question. That's a great question.
I think people that spend time with you, people that ask questions, ask good questions. You know, they don't just ask 2, 3, like how long has it been going on? Where is it? And they kind of like lean under the table, you know, look around the table and they look at your knee because you're saying you have knee pain. But somebody that takes the time to evaluate it fully. They ask good questions. You don't feel rushed. I mean, that's definitely the people I would look for. It's hard though, and it's really hard. I mean, it's geographic. You only have so many choices. Yeah. Are you willing to travel? A lot of these things. And also on the other side though, just because they do have a massive following or they are expensive it's not like it's a linear line with how much their expertise or how good they are or what kind of outcomes sometimes, but not always. So I think people will intuitively kind of know this, right? Like he didn't even look at it and he just prescribed this medicine. That's a big one. I mean, especially, and I don't blame them. The family care physicians, you know, your general practitioner, they don't have any time. They get like 7 minutes with every patient. They don't have time to do a bunch of tests on a table and see what's weak and stuff. But what they should do, what's responsible from their perspective is to refer them, to send them to a PT, to send them to a chiro that will take the time to look deeper. So yeah, somebody that's telling you they have all the answers is another red flag, I would say. Like, this is the only place to be. You know, I went to a certain chiro school because the other one I shadowed said, this is the only chiro school. Like, you should just go here. And then I went to look at the other one I shadowed, and they were like, hey, if this isn't for you, don't come here. And I was like, these are my people. These are my people. I'm going to this school. Like, that's how simple my choice was, just because I could relate to that, you know.
What happens when you guys don't accept insurance? Like, you can do that as well, right? You can go private, right? And then
cash,
right?
Yeah, I mean, people go cash all the time. Yeah,
just price people out sometimes. Is that what happens?
100%.
Or don't people? They feel sometimes like they're already paying for something, their insurance, and they want to use it. I'm paying for this thing I have. I want to get something out of it. That's a big problem for them to say,
But you guys aren't using like I don't think you guys are using like a lot of like medical stuff. So does the price get like, does it get multiplied 5 times like when you go into like a hospital?
I mean, if it's an emergency situation, yeah, it definitely does. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
This is not my area. I've been in Iceland for 8 years and totally different system. So I'm out of the loop on the
How's
insurance.
it work in Iceland?
Well, all chiropractic in Iceland is basically cash. And there is socialized medicine over there. So, like for example, I mean, we have an emergency cesarean and an ambulance. And there's zero bill. Of course, you pay it through your taxes and stuff, but it's a different system. And chiropractic specifically in Iceland is just a cash system. Like you just pay for it. And there's things called unions. Almost everybody's in a union, and they'll reimburse some of it. Kind of like what an insurance company will do, like a deductible versus the entire amount. It's a similar system over there. But I don't know anything currently about what's going on with the U.S. insurance and chiropractic or PT. And PTs typically get a lot more coverage.
Chiropractic family, how's it going? Now, on this podcast, on almost every single episode, we talk about sleep because sleep is important for your workouts, for your recovery, for your nutrition, for your fat loss, for your muscle gain. Literally everything comes down to getting great sleep at night. That's why we've partnered with 8 Sleep mattresses. Now they have something called the Pod Pro cover. Now this cover is something you can put over one of 8 Sleep's mattresses or your existing mattress, and it temperature regulates through the night so that you get the best sleep possible at every phase of your sleep. Most people think that you need to have your room temperature at 68 degrees Fahrenheit, but our temperature is different. I sleep hotter than most people. You might sleep cooler. So that's why the 8 Sleep mattress for yourself and your partner, either side of the mattress can have its own temperature regulation. And the cool thing is that the 8 Sleep app watches your temperature through multiple nights, and it'll literally change the way the temperature is set based off of the way you sleep. It's crazy. It's literally the Tesla of beds. Andrew, tell them about it, dude.
Yeah, dude. This technology is insane. It's like the most high technological, can't even say that word, piece of equipment that I have in my whole house. So you guys got to head over to 8sleep.com/power project. That's 8 spelled out. So EIGHT sleep.com/power project, and you guys will receive $150 off of your Pod Pro cover or your Pod Pro cover and mattress combo. And I must say that mattress is actually extremely comfortable. They didn't skimp out on anything on this product. Again, 8sleep.com/power project. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
And after years of doing chiropractic, how do you guys feel about it? Like, do you feel like the actual chiropractic, like cracking stuff, are you for it? Have you found it to not be as maybe effective as you thought, or is it more effective than you thought? Like, where's your stance on it?
I'm mostly against it. Straight up. Like I don't find benefit myself in it. I haven't seen it being reproducible in a lot of people.
What case would you use it? Is there a case where you would use it, or not really? Not anymore.
For sure, there are cases. If we're going to go back to the mental health aspect of things as well, if people think they need an adjustment, adjustments seem to work really well on those people. I've found. I like some extremity adjustment. Honestly, there's some foot stuff that's really good. There are some good manipulations as a piece of the treatment, as like the mashed potatoes in a meal situation. So for sure, there's. And honestly, one of the things about manipulation is that it is a very skilled thing to do. So young chiropractors, if you've been doing it for 2 or 3 years, if you've been lifting for 2 or 3 years, it's the same thing. There's someone who's been lifting for 10 years and it's very different. So there are people who are that skilled at it, and it's a very small percentage of people. Let's be totally honest. You can hear that like ASMR pop that people love.
Yeah.
And that's, God bless, fantastic. Want to take it? What's your opinion?
I do think it's effective, but I think the story that we're told is incorrect or incomplete. So, for example, when you go to chiro school or you go to a chiropractor as a patient, they'll tell you that, well, when I adjust you, I'm basically going to realign things. Yeah. As if it was that easy. It's like as if you just went in and you picked up 1 pound and did 1 curl and you just looked like Ronnie Coleman the next day. That would be so convenient. It just doesn't work like that. And also there's this other chiropractic idea that when everything's in alignment, the nervous system works better. And there's not a lot of evidence to support that because it's such a broad statement. It's not even like studyable. You know what I mean? But what I do think this stuff works, but maybe from a scientific perspective, on a different method. So let's say you ever had your low back cracked?
Yeah.
Right? So they put you on your side and they drag the top leg up real high and they twist you and they crack. Well, there's a logical explanation for why, okay, pain is different, but let's just say you actually are better. Like you get up and you couldn't touch your toes and now you can, right? There's an explanation besides alignment and nervous system stuff that we get taught or preached at these clinics, which is that when you put a rapid stretch into tissue that's already at end range, you elicit these Golgi tendon organs, these cells.
Might have got the same response if you had me catch a ball.
Yeah, like a rapid stretch. Yeah, exactly, 100%.
Like threw a ball in my feet and I caught it. Maybe I'd have the same.
Or your kid is falling.
Yeah, or stick my elbow in your back, and boom, you create inhibition, and the muscle like temporarily lets go a bit. I don't know why, but I feel great. Not to mention, what are joints? This is an easy one. What are joints meant to do?
Move muscles through space.
Be
Just
smoked?
move. Right. Smoked? That's like
wrong.
they are there to create movement, right? There's a space in the middle of my arm that is a joint that allows me to drink whatever I want to drink, right? The joint is just meant for movement, and when you move, it's what allows fluid to move around. In the spine, we call this imbibition. You squeeze the disc and it pushes water out. It's like a sponge, it pulls it back in. This is how we move nutrients around. It's the same with the joint. You know, like we used to think you crack your knuckles, your fingers, they get thicker, right? You get arthritis. And they actually studied this and they found absolutely no change or possibly a benefit.
What?
And it's like, well, like it's almost like, duh.
Let it out. Let it out.
My shit doesn't even crack anymore, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, it's probably, I know. Yeah.
So good.
It never cracks.
And it's kind of like, duh. It should have a positive benefit because joints are meant to move. And when you move them, the fluid gets to get pushed around and like you train and blood gets pushed around. It's like, there's all these massive benefits to that. So the joints actually get to, maybe that person has just been stuck in Stuckville for a year, and then you finally force the low back to move enough and the pop just comes because you created enough movement to separate the joint that there's a change of pressure inside, right?
So
like
people know
opening a Pepsi bottle.
People know chiropractic because of the popping, and what you're maybe proposing is maybe it doesn't have anything to do with the popping, because sometimes you go to move someone around, it doesn't make any noise, but because you moved them in a quick fashion, maybe that's something that helps, and maybe it would be similar if you were to put weight or pressure on an area, that could also have a benefit, right? There's maybe multiple ways to get to the same thing.
The people that benefit the most, honestly, from adjustments are often really deconditioned. Like, and same thing with people that benefit from manual therapy or massage. Like, someone does manual therapy massage on your back versus someone who spends time on their couch. It's going to be far more beneficial to that deconditioned person because there's a novel stimulus and it really will change them. I mean, they will experience a difference because anything is good than the nothing that's happening to their body.
Yeah, and there's some stuff to back this up. You know, a lot of the chiropractors will point out research that shows after a manipulation, power output went up. But it's like I said, they're not wrong. It's almost like the explanation for why there's improvement seems to be the disconnect, in my opinion. It's like, oh, it's explained by the fact that now you have tissue that's more in a better position or relaxed or more neutral. We like to say sometimes it's kind of sitting where it's supposed to be. So you'll be able to generate better power afterwards. So there's just a lot of other explanations that are maybe more caught up with the research and the literature to support what chiropractic's actually doing. But I am somebody that manipulates and thinks that it is beneficial.
Chiropractic family, we appreciate you checking out this clip. Check out another one. Just go check out another one. Or comment down below and let us know what you liked about this one. But we love you guys, and we're going to keep bringing you the heat. So comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff, okay? Peace.